Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Premier League Verdict, where we are in different settings today. If you're a long-time subscriber to the channel, you will be aware of the amazing videos that have been made in this room. I'm looking at Bake Off. I'm looking at Bake Off 2. I'm looking at the Giant Jaffa Cake video. And the reason we're here today is because this actually isn't the reason, but he's here, so I might as well bring him on camera. We have a kitty. Say hello. Okay, we'll let you know. Welcome back to the Premier League Verdict. Hello guys, how are you getting on? My name is Aaron Kelly and you're very welcome back to another episode of the Premier League Verdict. The Premier League where I feel like a lot has happened since the last time I made one of these videos. It looks like the title race is back on after Liverpool beat Leeds during the week. Liverpool look as though they're back in the title race. The top four race looks absolutely mental, as does the relegation battle. And a season which looked like it might have been dead in the water might just be resurrected. Let's get into our boxes, ladies and gentlemen. I have the graphic up in front of us as usual if you're new to the series, which, you know, if you're joining at this point in the season, not really sure why, but, you know, I appreciate it. The green box is for our performance of the week. Our yellow box is for our wow, shocking moment of the week. And if you can probably gather, the red box is our stinker of the week. Kicking things off, as usual, with our green box. And it's not really a performance of the week, so to say. I was kind of struggling to find a best performer. I was going to give it to Newcastle, but I'm actually... This is a bit of a feel-good story this week in the green box. In a world where... I mean, the world is fucked at the minute. We've just come off a global pandemic and we're now looking at a war. But we're throwing a feel-good story into the green box this week. He didn't necessarily grab the performance of the week, but Christian Eriksen is back, not only in the Premier League, but back playing competitive football for the first time since his cardiac arrest he suffered at Euro 2020. And as I said, in a world where everything in the news these days is so sad and depressing, I feel like this was a nice feel-good story. I remember the Eriksen incident happening at the Euros and thinking to myself that it's one of the most traumatic incidents I've ever seen on live television. It's got to be up there. And there was a lot of people questioning would he even pull through at the time. Like, it was really, really horrific stuff. And when he came back and kind of said that he wanted to play football once again, there was not many teams lining up for his signature because too many teams were just too worried about the potential risk that bringing Christian Eriksen into the club would bring. In fairness to Brentford, they've taken the chance, and if he does come back and is somewhat of the player we knew Christian Eriksen to be, he could be a massive asset for Brentford. Obviously, they lost the game against Newcastle at the weekend where he made his Brentford debut, but Brentford are now in a situation where it looks like they're being dragged into the relegation fight. A lot of us probably thought that, at the beginning of the season they did enough to get themselves clear of that, but they're now only 3 points above the relegation zone. I feel like a lot of this video is going to be me talking about the relegation battle. You'll see why when we go on to talk about the other boxes. But you've got the likes of Leeds, Everton, obviously Burnley have got a couple of wins recently. Watford got a good point at the weekend against Man United. I would say Watford and Norwich would do well to survive at this point considering the records they have. But Brentford are right in amongst it, and I think Christian Eriksen could prove to be one of the signings of the season if we see the version of Christian Eriksen that we know is there. But green box, Christian Eriksen, welcome back to football, my friend, and welcome back in particular to the Premier League. It was a beautiful moment to see him return to the pitch. Yellow box, shocking moment of the week now, and I'm about to go off on a bit of a rant. VAR, right? Okay, it played a massive factor in the Carabao Cup final yesterday. I would have talked about that in my video that went out at 2 o'clock today. But it played a massive role in the 5:30 Saturday game between Everton and Manchester City. Obviously, Manchester City looking to bounce back off the back of that defeat to Tottenham last week, looking at Liverpool's win against Leeds during the week, and I would imagine starting to get a little bit worried. Pep's thinking to himself, I don't get nervous, but I'm starting to get a bit shaky, you know what I mean? He will be looking over his shoulder. He will know that Liverpool are within touch and distance, and the fact that they have to play Liverpool again. It is crucial that Manchester City get back to winning ways, otherwise we could be looking at a massive title bottle job. But they play Everton, who themselves are in a horrible, horrible situation down the bottom of the table. I think Frank Lampard has come in there, and it's a really, really tough job for Frank to come in. And I think this season, if Frank can keep Everton up, I think that will be enough. and they'll have to try and look to build on that next season. But I think right now it's a matter of keeping Everton up. Everton played absolutely fantastically and deserved at least a point from the game, I feel. I think Richarlison was absolutely excellent up front. The pressure they put Manchester City under. The crowd were excellent at Goodison Park as well. It was a shocking Michael Keane error that led to Phil Foden scoring the opening goal towards the end of the game. And then we have what's in the yellow box. I'm sticking VAR in there because there's this incident that it still baffles me a couple of days later. Rodri quite clearly handles the ball in the box. It's an awkward bouncing ball. There's no one around him. We were actually all sitting in the sitting room watching this game and think to ourselves, Rodri, what are you actually doing here? It's as clear a handball as I feel like you're ever going to see. His hand is out like that. It spins back up and, touches him on the arm, probably just below the sleeve, which, according to the rules, is a handball. And Paul Tierney, the referee, on-field referee, doesn't see it, which is fair enough. I mean, he was probably the other side of it. But is it Patrick Kavanagh that was in the VAR who looks at it for a good minute, 2 minutes, from 3 separate angles, and still doesn't give the penalty to Everton. Like, I still cannot believe that happened. And there was a couple of question marks, and Frank Lampard made sure to highlight them in his post-match interview. Was there an offside in the build-up? Because Paul Tierney did like the hand signal for offside. And I think the offside happened after the incident. So he was given the free kick to Manchester City for Richarlison being offside. There was talks that maybe Richarlison was offside in the build-up. I've still not really seen it. It's not really been given too much coverage. I've seen it the one time, and I really don't think he was. And Frank Lampard said that he asked Paul Tierney after the game, was there an offside? Because he was still baffled about the whole thing, the whole penalty not being given. And Paul Tierney apparently said, no, there was no offside. So, if that's the case and there's no offside, why on earth was this penalty not given? Like, seriously. Manchester City were poor. They probably had a decent spell in the game towards the end of the first half where they were dominant. But they've dodged a massive bullet there. And, Frank Lampard highlighted it. It's not just like a bit of a nothing game where City have already won the league or Everton are already safe. Manchester City are battling for the title up the top of the table. Everton are battling for survival down the bottom. And it's these kind of big decisions that make the big difference come the end of the season. And I just think it was an absolute shocker. I did contemplate putting this in the stinker box, but I was just too baffled. I'm like, what? How? Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, lads. I think a lot of people seem to think that Manchester City dodged a bullet, and I'd be inclined to agree with you there. Oh, let's finish off with our stinker of the week then, and Marcelo Bielsa's time as Leeds manager is over. It's a bit of a sad story, this. Obviously, he has reignited new life into what was a sleeping giant in Leeds United. Always close enough to the top of the Championship, but not quite being able to get there to the Premier League. He finally managed to do that, get Leeds back to where they belong, and this run of poor results and the fact that Leeds are well in a relegation scrap means that Marcelo Bielsa has lost his job, and it's a bit shit really, because you look at it, he has had a lot of injuries this season. Liam Cooper, their captain, has been out for large periods. Calvin Phillips and Patrick Bamford, arguably their two best players last season, both have been sidelined for a significant amount of time this season, and realistically the depth just hasn't been there for Leeds, and the players that have been coming in to replace those key men haven't been good enough, simple as. And it's sad really, because I think Leeds broke some sort of record for goals conceded throughout the month of February. 20 goals or something like that throughout them, like in 4 games. That's crazy. Obviously they conceded the 6 to Liverpool. The more recent one was the 4 to Tottenham at the weekend. And it looks like Jesse Marsh is coming in to replace Marcelo Bielsa at Leeds. And I'm gonna be straight up with you here, lads. I don't know anything about this man. It may sound ignorant for me to say this, but should they have got somebody with a bit more of a track record in the Premier League to come in and, work their magic and keep Leeds up? I'm talking of the same ilk as the likes of Sam Allardyce and people like that. I'm sure that's not what Leeds fans want to see after they've seen such entertaining football over the last couple of years under Marcelo Bielsa, but needs must, maybe. I mean, Leeds are in a horrific situation, and make no mistake, they are well in this relegation scrap, along with Brentford, with Everton, and with Burnley. I think Watford and Norwich are, as I said, probably gone at this point. I think it would have to be an absolute miracle for either of them to stay up. But Leeds are well in the thick of it at the minute, and if they are going to survive, they're going to have to do it without their long-serving manager, Marcelo Bielsa. Alright lads, that's where we're going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts on the Premier League fixtures in the comment section down below. I was hoping to get February recreations recorded today. However, the weather has just been borderline depressing in Ireland. I think I mentioned it in the meme review video recently. Also, I didn't mention this in my Carabao Cup video. Thank you for 500 subscribers. I'm talking about maybe doing a Q&A if there's enough interest. If you want to see that, let me know. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. We're pushing for 1,000 now before the end of the year, lads. It's going to be a big push, but we're going to try and do our best. Alright, we're keeping up the consistency, keeping up the quality content, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Apart from that, lads, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch you later.